formulas they use. There's two formulas they use. One is the top one. One is the bottom one. How do they know which one? Well, it depends. How often does your bank put money into your bank account? They'll tell you. Compounded. They use the word compounded. How often do they compound? It means how often are they putting money into your bank account? Some banks do it daily. Some do it weekly, monthly, quarterly. Quarterly means 4 times a year. Yearly means once. Okay, my bank I think is yearly. I think they do it yearly. So if they tell you, we're going to use the first formula. If they don't, sometimes they'll say we'll do it continuously. Well, that's kind of a vague term. What does continuously mean? Does it mean hourly? Does it mean daily? Does it mean weekly? I don't know. So if that's the case, we use this formula here. Okay? That's the difference between the two. When do we use one versus the other? They'll tell us. Okay? And then you're going to see a lot of different letters. P, A, P, R, N, T, E. Okay? They all mean something. They all mean something. It's on the board. I put it on the board, but it's also on your notes. What do all of those letters mean? A, they both have A. Each formula has an A. What does A mean? Future value. How much money am I going to have in the future? If I put $500 in my bank account now, how much am I going to have in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? That's future value. That's A. P is principal. We called it, for growth and decay, we called it starting amount. It's the same thing. Principal means starting amount, right? How much am I going to start with? R is the rate, same as before. Remember, divide it by 100, divide the percent by 100, and you get your rate. N is a new one. N is number of times compounded in 1 year. What does compounded mean? It means how often are they putting money into your bank account? If it's compounded weekly, let's start with daily. If they put money into your bank account daily, how many times are they doing it at the end of the year? How many times have they done it? If they put money into your bank account daily, at the end of the year, how many times have they done it? How many times have they done that process? 365, yep. Okay, so N, if it's daily, N would be 365. Weekly, if they do something weekly, how many times is it by the end of the year? How many weeks are there in a year? 52, so 52. Monthly, 12. Quarterly, if I do something quarterly, how many times am I doing it by the end of the year? 4 times. I think of 4 quarters in a dollar, 4. Yearly or annually, sometimes they call it annually. If they do something yearly, like I have a birthday annually, how many birthdays do I have in 1 year? 1, right? That's the difference. The other one is continuously. That just means, I don't know what that means. I can't put a number on that. So that's why we have a different formula. T is years. How many years? E is a new one too. It looks like Euler's, but it's pronounced Euler's. It's a German last name, the guy who came up with the number. So E, we'll talk about E more next chapter, but for financials, when they're talking about interest continuously, we use E. There's a button on your calculator, which I'll show you, which is an E button, okay? It's like 2.718. It's kind of like pi. It's a number. It's not a variable. E is not a variable. It's a number, okay? It just uses the letter E. All right. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do 3 things. The first thing we're going to do is solve for the future amount. How much am I going to have in 18 years? Okay? So Tanya invested $390 into an account, paying her an interest of 2.7% compounded daily. Assuming no deposits, assuming she doesn't take any money out or put any money in, how much is she going to have to the nearest cent after 18 years? Okay, so first question is, do I know how many times it's going to be compounded, or is it continuously? Do I know how many times? Yeah, they told me daily, right? Didn't we say daily was 365? So because it's daily, we're going to use the first formula. So the first thing I'm going to do is organize my given information. A, capital P, R, N, T. I'm going to go through each of these and see if I know it or I don't know it. Okay, so A, do we know how much money she's going to have after 18 years? No, so I'm not going to put anything, I'm just going to put a question mark there because that's what I'm looking for. P, principal, do I know how much she's going to start with? 390, so P is 390. R, do we know what interest rate the bank's going to give her? 2.7, right? So we got to divide by 100. So it's not 2.7, it's 0.027. That's what R is. N, how many times are they going to put money in her bank account? How many times is it going to be compounded? 365, daily, right? At the end of the year, they'll have put money into her bank account 365. I know there's leap years, but we're not worried about leap. We're just worried about 365. If it happens to be a leap year, it'll be 366, but we're not worried about that. Time, how much time is she going to keep her money? 18, right? Okay, that's what we know. We also know we're going to use the first formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out this formula at the best of my ability. I don't know what A is. I don't know what A is, so I'm going to use A. Next one is P. I know what P is, 390. Parentheses, 1 plus. It's 1 plus because it's growth. Remember, 1 plus was always for growth. That's why the 1 plus is there. Fraction, R. I'm going to put R up there. Divided by N. To the, now we're going up here to the power. N times T power. N times T power. 365 times 18 power. Your calculator is going to come in very handy today. We're going to use our calculator for every problem because that is a calculator problem. Okay, so go to your calculator and we'll plug this in. I'll show you where these buttons are if you don't know. Okay, so go to the calculator. So go to calculation. So we started out with 390. So I'm going to put 390, 390 parentheses, 1 plus. Then we had R divided by N. R was 0.027. 0.027 divided by 365. Close parentheses. Now, the power is going to be two numbers being multiplied together. 365 times 18, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go power. Power is the button right below clear. Top right, right below clear. It's got an F on it. That's the power button. When I want to multiply two things, I usually use parentheses. So parentheses 365 times 18. Close the parentheses. Hit enter. 634 and change. You're going to cut and paste that number because we don't know how much they want us to round to. So cut and paste that number. Okay? Okay, so we're going to go back. I'm going to say A equals, it's right in front of you, but it's not in front of me, so I'm going to cut and paste it. Okay, so now let's go back to the question. What did they want me to round to? The nearest cent. Which number is in the cent spot? 5, yeah, the 5 here. The 5 is in the cents or penny spot. So once we've established that, we go, okay, that guy can stay at 5 or go up to 6. So we look to the right. If that number is 5 or higher, it goes up. If it's 0 to 4, it stays where it's at. So it's going to stay. So our finished answer is $634.05. That's how much future value she's going to have. Okay? Okay. So remember to always, 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 however they want you to round correctly, okay? That's why I want you to cut and paste from your calculator. Okay? All right, so here we go. Number 2. Number 2. Hannah invested $820 into a bank account. The bank is giving her 1.8% compounded continuously. So 1.8% is not very high percent. Assuming no deposits or withdrawals are made, so assuming she doesn't put any money in or take any money out. How much money to the nearest $100 would there be after 16 years? Okay, so my first question when I'm compounding. Do I know, can I put a number on the amount of times it's being compounded? What does continuously mean? I don't know what number that is. It's not daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. I can put a number on those. Continuously, I can't. So that means we're going to use this guy here. Okay? So this guy has an A, a P, an R, and a T. E we're not worried about because that button's on my calculator. I'll show you the button on your calculator so you don't need to write down that. Okay, what's the future amount? What's the future amount she's going to have in her account? Question mark. We don't know. Yeah. How much money does she start with? $820. Rate. What rate is the bank giving her? 1.8, right? So we got to divide that by 100. 0.018. And then she's keeping the money in the bank account for 16 years. Now we can go to our formula. A equals P. A we don't know, so I'm going to keep it as A. P was 820 times E. R was 0.018 times 16 for T. That copies this formula right here. E we're just going to leave as E. E is not a variable. E is a button on your calculator. Okay? So we're going to go back to our calculator and I'll show you where all those buttons are. Okay, so here we go. Go back to calculation. 820, no parentheses this time, times E. E is right underneath the shift button to the top left. If you look top left corner, right underneath the cursor, left, right, up, down, it says shift. Right below that is E. That's where the E button is going to go. So you're going to hit that button. And then we had, on our paper, we had 0.0, oops, let me put parentheses, 0.018 times 16, close parentheses. Enter. Write that number down. We're going to cut and paste that number. Okay. All right. So we're going to go back here, and I'm going to cut and paste. Okay. This one wants you to round to the nearest $100. Which number is in the $100 spot? Which, not $100. Zero. It's the zero right here. Zero's in the $100, right? The 1 is in the thousands, 0 is in the hundreds, 9 is in the tens, ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, so on and so forth. So 0 is either going to stay or go up. Going to go up by 1. So how do we write this? I have students say, how do I write it? Well, you write 1. The 1, the 0 that we said goes up becomes a 1, and then everything else is zeros. Everything else is zeros. 1,100, 1,100, however you want to say it. That's how much money will be in her bank account after 16 years. So almost $300. Almost $300. After 16 years, $300 is not that much, but think about it. What did she do for that money? Nothing. Like, she literally did nothing for the money. So interest is not a bad thing. Okay, if you want more interest, you got to put more money in the bank. That's the thing. Okay. Okay, so let's change it up now. Now we're not going to solve for A, we're solving for P now. Okay, so read the question. Does it tell me how many times it's being compounded, or does it just say continuously? Continuously. So we're going to use the same equation we just used. The same one we just used. So we need an A, I need a P, I need an R, and I need a T. Okay? So what is each of those going to be? Write those down right now. What are each of those going to be? Or a question mark. Some of them we don't know. So Grace has a goal. That's future amount. That's her goal. She wants it to reach $46,000. Okay? How much money does she start with? We don't know. That's the question mark there. It's always going to be one question mark is okay. More than one question mark, not okay. So that means we should know R and T. R is right there. Divide that by 100. You're going to get 0.038. And then she wants to keep the money in for 13 years. For 13 years. We're going to go back to this formula here and write everything I know. I know A, P is going to stay P, everything else we know. So we know A is $46,000. We know P, we don't know P actually, so we're just going to put P times. E is a button on our calculator, so we can just put E. Power. Power is rate, R, times years, 13. So this one we can't just push numbers in our calculator quite yet. We have to solve for P. If we were solving for A, yeah, go for it. But we don't, so we have to solve for P. This is kind of like what we were doing the last 2 days when we were solving for R. Except we need to solve for P right now. So here's my question. How do we get P by itself? Heard it somewhere. I heard it somewhere. Divide, yeah, divide. Why divide? Because it's multiplication, right? So what do we divide by? Everything that's not P. Everything that's not P. Everything that is not P, we divide by. E to the whatever power divided by E to the whatever power is what? What is that going to equal? Cancel each other out, makes a 1, right? Anything divided by itself is just 1. Don't believe it? Ask your calculator. It'll tell you it's 1. So that leaves 1p. Now over here, we're actually going to use the calculator to do that division problem. So let's go back to the calculator. Okay. So we had $46,000, right? $46,000. And we divided by E. E is still right underneath shift. Right underneath shift, E is there. Parentheses, it was 0.038 times years, 13. And there we go. Okay. Cut and paste that number. Cut and paste that number. All right, so we're going to go and I'm going to cut and paste that number right there. That's not my final answer. It's the answer that needs to be rounded. So it's the non-rounded answer. So let me see how they want me to round. They want me to round to the nearest cent again. The nearest cent. What number is in the cent spot? 1. 1 is in the penny spot. 6 says go up. So it's going to be $28,068.32. That's how much money she's going to need to start with. If she wants to make her goal, she has to start with that much money there. Okay, that's how much money she needs to start with. Okay. So number 4, I want you to do number 4, start number 4. Which formula am I using? List everything, A, P, R, list everything you need for number 4. Figure out which one is it. Do I know how many times it's going to be compounded, or does it just say continuously? Start there. And then fill out all your A, P, R, if it's an N and a T, or if it's just an R and a T. Fill all that out. What does the problem actually say? It's right there. So how many times is this going to be compounded per year? 4. Quarterly. Quarterly is 4. 4 is a number. It's going to be this one here. Doesn't say continuously. It says actual 4. Okay? So we need an A. I need a P. I need an R, I need an N, and I need a T. Do we know her end goal? Or, yeah, Alicia's end goal? Yes, we do. Her end goal is to have $6,800. Do we know how much she's going to start out with? No, question mark. They're giving her a rate of 2.7%. 2.7%. And we said quarterly, right? Quarterly means 4 times. And then she's going to invest for 16 years. So then we go to our graph or our equation, 6,800. We don't know what P is. 1 plus 0.027 divided by 4 to the n times t power. Okay. How do I get p by itself? Divide, right? Because p is multiplying times the parentheses. Divide. So everything I don't want to stay. 4 times 16. Four times 16. Okay. Use your calculator, see what you're going to get. So when you use your calculator, you should get this number here. Verify that you can get that number on your calculator. Okay. So it says round to the nearest $10. $10. Which number's in the $10 spot? The 2. The 2 is in the $10, so I always look to the right. That 1 says, nope, stay where you're at. So it's going to be $4,420. Okay. All right. Okay, one more. The last one is actually I don't want to say the easiest one, but it's the one with the least amount of work because the calculator is going to do the heavy lifting. Okay? It's when we don't know time. I don't know how much time I have she has to spend money or put money in the account. Okay? So let's start out like we always do. Is it compounded daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, or is it compounded continuously? Continuously. So we're going to use that guy there. So I need an A, I need a P, I need an R, and I need a T. Goal, future value, $40,000. We actually know how much she's going to start with. She's going to start with $19,000. Interest, we know interest. The bank is going to give her 4.2%, 0.042. We just don't know how long she needs to keep her money in the bank to reach her goal. So she wants her money to double. That's almost double. That's more than doubling. Right? So she wants to know how long is it going to take for me to do nothing and the bank to give me $21,000. Okay? All right, so let's fill out what we know. Let's go over here. We know A, $40,000. We know P, $19,000. Oops. And we're going to use E to the R times we don't know. So we're just going to use T or X. You can use whatever variable you want. Okay, that's what we don't know. I need to figure out how much time will get her to $40,000. So we're going to go to the calculator. Okay, we're going to go to the calculator, except we're not going to calculate anything. We're going to look at a graph. I'm going to graph it so I can tell on the graph where it's at. So we haven't done this before, so I'm going to go slow. All right, so go to your calculator, go to home. If it's not already on home, go to home. Don't go to calculation, click one over and go to the grapher, the graphing feature. It's right next to it. Okay? If you have something there, just hit clear. If there's something there from the previous class, all you got to do is hit clear and then it'll go away. Okay? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to put in my equation. I'm going to put in my equation, except I'm not going to put in her goal. Her goal I'm going to look for, but I'm not going to put that in yet. So what I'm going to put is this guy here. I'm going to type that in exactly how it is in there into the graphing button. Okay? So I'm going to type in, make this a little bigger. I'm going to type in 19,000. 19,000. And then it was times, right? E, parentheses. And it was 0.042. We use T, right? But here's the thing. The calculator likes X. It's okay. Where's the X button? It's right above, right below the black off button. Right below it says cut XNT. That's where the variable button is. So you're going to hit that button once. Hit that button once, and it's an X. It's okay. We don't need a T. We don't need an N. We just want to, X is okay. And then you're going to close the parentheses. And then hit enter. Okay? If you're having some tech issues with this, just look at mine right now, and then I can help you. After this problem, I can help you out. Okay? But just if you like, it's not doing what I want it to do, it's not matching what yours is doing, just relax right now, look at mine, and then on the next problem, I'll help you with yours. Okay? We're going to do one more practice problem like this, just to kind of get used to the calculator. Okay? Okay, so if we go up, so I'm going to go up now. Go up to where it says highlights expression. That's the graph. That's what you see right now. Go over one. Go over one to the graph and hit enter. That's a really zoomed in version of the graph. That's a really zoomed in version to the graph. If you want to see the graph, zoom out. Zoom out is easy. It's just minus. Zoom in plus, zoom out minus. So you can zoom out. And when you zoom out, it looks like a graph we've seen before. We saw those graphs last week. Those curved graphs, exponentials. Okay? So we want to know is when is that red line going to cross, what was her goal? Her goal was 40,000. An easier way of doing that is using a table. So you're going to go up again to the table. This time you're going to go over to the table now. Go up and over to the table and hit enter. So X is years. X is years. How many years? Over here is how much money she's going to have in her account. We want this number to be 40,000. 40,000. I want to go, where is this going to be 40,000? Okay? So I scroll down. And it stops at 10, and I don't make it to 40,000. Well, I can plug in numbers. I'm not that close to 40,000. I'm about 11,000 off. So I'm going to jump up a little bit. I'm going to say 15. I'm going to put the number 15 in here. Oops, not that. No. 15. Okay, I'm getting closer to 40,000. So let me go 16. Getting closer, 17. 18. I go over. 18 is when I go over 40,000. So it's somewhere between 17 and 18. Is it 17.5, 17.1? Well, we can ask the calculator that too. Let's say 17.5. Haven't gone over. You're going to do this in a second on your own, so make sure you're paying attention, okay? Following either your calculator or my calculator, because you're going to do this on your own in a second, and next week on the test. And on the test, I can't help you, okay? So that's why we're doing practice. 17.7, 17.8. So it looks like it goes over at around 17.7 or 17.8. That looks like when it goes over into 40,000. Okay? So I'm going to cut and paste. Let's see. Okay? They want to know what's the nearest year. What is the nearest year that she will reach, or she will reach her goal? What's the nearest year that she's going to reach her goal of 4,000? Well, when is she going to reach her goal of 40,000? Between 17.7 and 17.8. Do we round up to 18 or stay at 17? Round up to 18. So we're going to say time is 18 years. Okay, 18 years. All right. That question, I didn't have to do any type of adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. I just had to read the graph. So I'm going to give you one more to do. You don't have to write this down, but I want you to definitely do it on your calculator. I want to see it on your calculator. I'm going to give you one more problem to do. Okay, and then we'll tape in and we'll be done. Okay?